because you don't need action to hook the player. You just need to have a compelling intro.
A reason to play.
A reason to play. And you can do that with action. You can do it with interpersonal moments. You can do it by just making a curious world the player wants to go out and explore. I mean, Breath of the Wild opens up, and it's just like, oh, walk through this chamber a little bit, climb up this wall so that you know you can just climb up vertical surfaces, and then, oh, look at this big whole world. Right?
Gives you a reason to want to do stuff.
It's just so bizarre to me that so many RPGs, especially Japanese RPGs these days, seem to completely fail at hooking the player in any kind of tangible way.
It's like, let's spend a really long time reading stuff that isn't that fun.
Fucking exactly. Like, I love reading stuff, but the stuff that they give you to read often is just boring. Fucking I tried to play Dragon Quest VII, you know, a PS1 era RPG, which came out a year or two after this, and I tried to play it last year, and I just gave up after like an hour, because you're just walking around town, and your mom was like, "Oh, bring your dad this fish sandwich." So these questions aren't horribly important, but they do affect the background numbers, which determine who you go on a date with later.
These flowers are pretty suspicious. Where'd you get these?
She just puts on her shades and runs away.
I got you, fuck. You look down, it's just like a newspaper wrapped around a turd.
No!
It's not a flower at all.
Yeah. I like that there's somebody moving around in the lit windows up there.
Yeah. Like they're looking like, what's going on out there? There's fucking
there's gunfire.
I got they're just opening fire on this guy they don't know.
He just looks suspicious.
That hair and I don't know, that giant sword.
Granted, he is dressed as a first-class soldier, and he's obviously not with Shinra anymore. So that makes him stand out quite a bit. Hey, if you just see someone who looks like they're dressed as a soldier first class, but they're clearly not, because they don't carry themselves like one, like they never were, just shoot them. Just shoot them. Clud never came. Like they're already just so enraptured with Cloud.
Yeah, God, he's real cool. I was gonna ask him some questions.
And that's the whole point of Cloud's roleplay as Zack. It's like, because Zack is this cool guy that apparently people just liked. So Cloud's just like, if I carry myself like him, and then it's working. It's working. My debrief for this game might be 2 or even 3 parts long. Because I'm going to have the one where I go over the game itself in general, but then I also want to talk about this game's depiction of role-playing, and how role-playing can be used as a therapeutic element, but how it can also be destructive.
Nice.
Specifically because Cloud, he fails to join Soldier because he thinks he himself is weak. And yet, by the end of the game, you're able to kill fucking Sephiroth, who's basically a god. So the only reason Cloud was weak is because he thought he was weak. Once he no longer thought he was weak, once he started acting like Zack, and he thought he was someone strong, suddenly he was able to overcome his mental barrier, become strong, etc., etc., etc. So that roleplay helped him a whole hell of a lot. But he takes it too far, he loses his own sense of self, because he's mingled his own memories with his imagined memories of if he was in Zack's position, which I was able to be taken advantage of, yada yada yada. Bad shit happens if you take roleplay too seriously.
I got when Cloud comes in, they're all like, Cloud, with exclamation point, except Jesse's like, Cloud, ... Like,
yeah, Jesse's back there. Yeah. Jessie is clearly, she clearly has a crush on Cloud.
Yeah, I think the rest of them do too.
Yeah. Cloud's a pretty dude.
And then Barrett's just pissed about it. It's like, fuck this shit. I used to be the hot meat around here. Everyone lining up around the block for a slice of the old dark meat.
Oh.
Now this fucker with his spiky hair and tight pants.
Actually, his pants are really baggy.
Oh yeah, that's right. They're really tight, like from the knee down.
Yeah. What's the joke in Hot Shots? I'm sorry about the pants. They ran out of material around the knees.
Thanks for not letting me die.
And as a kid, I had to replay the reactor a couple of times just because I didn't find Jessie.
You didn't know what she was doing.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, here we go, and then Biggs is like, oh, I don't have the password. I can't get through this door. And I just kind of waited out the clock and then dead.
It's cool how real this whole bus situation is with the things you hold on to.
Yeah, now that I've ridden buses and light rails for the past 7 years, yeah. And how just kind of grimy and scummy it is.
The unsavory types hanging around.
Because it's 12:23 in the morning.
The dude who's in a suit but probably doesn't look like he should be there.
Yeah.
The weird glowing red tubes. The luggage rack that no one uses for fear of getting shit stolen.
Exactly. Every fucking bus has that luggage rack. Nobody uses it. And when someone does use it, it's weird.
Yeah.
And me too. And me too. Everyone will know Wedge. They'll call me Wedge the hero. And now Jesse is using this excuse of the monitor to get close to Cloud. Like, hey, you want to get real close to me and look at this? Yeah.
She takes a big old sniff of him.
Oh, you smell like a musty old drawer, but you know, whatever.
Smell like a hero. Smell like a champion.
These champions just smell like musty old drawers. I better get used to it.
How do you read that? It's just, I mean, shit.
It's just a raw wireframe schematic. Like, that's probably the actual model of Midgar before they textured it and all of that for the pre-rendered cutscenes.
And where it's just solid green is because there's so
many, yeah. Like, someone's job was to just model Midgar, and they went, fuck. Fuck. That's all I did for this whole game project. Everyone's doing this cool shit, and I'm just making green lines for Midgar. Fuck.
That's 8 IAX station.
8 rack station? I don't, yeah. Infinite rack station.
Some stuff that I haven't read in a while.
Yeah. And it does read a little awkwardly. I didn't notice as a child because I was stupid. But as an adult going back, I'm like, yeah, this localization could have used at least one more pass over. Some of it they do very well. I think some parts they just realize are very important. But then some parts they just, like, didn't even give it a once over, it feels. Which is another reason that I desperately want to play a modded PC version with all the updates. Because not even disregarding all the graphical updates people have done to give it a modern overworld and graphics and sound and character models and all that, I just want a cleaned up localization to see how significant some of the changes might be. Because there are parts, even now, having played this game a dozen times, having played it backwards and forwards, knowing it inside and out, I'll read a bit of text and go, I don't know what that means. Or someone will explain a little bit of backstory, but because it's kind of awkward, I'm like, I don't get it. I just cannot... I can't reconcile that with my extensive knowledge of this game. Somebody fucked up really hard.
That's Bart getting all poetic and shit.
Yeah. Because of that fucking pizza. Like, that's a weird one. I get it. It's a big disc, but pizza maybe isn't the best.
Because of that shit pizza up there.
Actually, he will say shit, so I suspect that's fuck.
Yeah. Does he say dick ever? It could be dick pizza.
No, it could be dick. Yeah, you're right, because he never says that. No, it's because they can't afford to move. Trust me, it's not because they love this polluted land. It's called rent slavery, Barrett. Get woke. What? What? I'm a black eco-terrorist. You're telling me to get woke?
Get woke, bitch.
As I sip my Venti Macchiato and drive off on my hybrid scooter.
What do you think this game did for the idea of, like, cinematics and cutscenes in video games?
I think it went a long way towards cementing them as the de facto storytelling element of video games. To the point where many developers clearly abused it to just have overly long cutscenes that aren't interesting and have no interactivity. So much so that we saw a huge backlash against that recently, where some developers feel you should never use cutscenes, or that cutscenes are inherently bad. Because this was, like, I think for many people, I know for many people, this was their first RPG. It was for me, it was for many other people. And before this, cutscenes had always been rather limited affairs. But then you play this, and it's so culturally influential and has such cultural penetration that it puts the idea of the cutscene in everyone's mind as the standard.
Yeah.
Even though it's their first experience with it, this had such a significant impact that it's the standard.
Well, the thing they do with cutscenes here is they help establish.
They do.
Stuff.
There was just this week actually, or maybe it was last week, the Extra Credits YouTube channel put up a video defending cutscenes. Because one of the guys has been playing Yakuza, and that game has very long cutscenes, but he never feels compelled to skip them, and he's never bored during them. And they look at cutscenes like, when should you use these? And they specifically bring up Final Fantasy VII.
Oh,
like,
cool.
You should use cutscenes for moments that you cannot do with gameplay.
Yeah.
You should use them to establish mood. You should use them to establish setting. Because you can give like a big pan over Midgar, and it gives you the feeling of Midgar. You can't do that with gameplay, really.
Yeah.
But if you just use cutscenes for every little thing, they lose their impact, and they just waste the player's time. And if you don't use them to their fullest extent for the stuff that they are good for, like establishing setting, then again, you're just wasting your time with them. And man, that is a grungy-ass bar.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I wonder what's in that fridge.
It's the sort of bar that's gone so far towards grungy that I'm comfortable with it again.
Yeah.
There's a mid-level of grunge that I'm like, man, no.
Trying too hard.
Yeah.
Or wow, this place
isn't trying hard enough. But then you get in here and it's like, this place is grungy enough that it feels like they have real passion for what they're doing.
Biggs has like a bottle of big old 2-liter of like Sprite or something.
Yeah.
Tifa.
Yeah. I was gonna go with just, F-A, but I'm like, no, that's just Tifa, it's just spelled differently.
Tifa.
Yeah. This is another moment that gives you certain points for that date. If you give it to Tifa, you get points with her. If you get to Marlene, you get points with Barrett. To go on that date with Barrett is very, very hard. Basically how it works is your 4 options are Eris, Tifa, Yuffie, Barrett. And they each start off with a certain number of points, descending in that order. Eris starts off with like 50, Tifa with I think 40, Yuffie with 15 or 20, Barrett I believe starts with 0. So in order to go on that date with Barrett, you have to get every possible option to get points with him, while simultaneously taking every opportunity to lose points with Eris and Tifa. Yuffie I think starts off low enough that if you don't want to go on a date with her, you don't have to specifically sabotage things. But for the other two, they start off so high that you need to go out of your way to lose points with them in order to go on that date with Barrett.
Give me something hard.
Yeah.
Like how nobody likes to walk in this world, they just leap around everywhere.
Yeah. Make sure you get your pay from Bart. What a hero. We were actually talking during our... To go back to pacing for a little bit, we were talking about Uncharted 4 while we were playing it, and how it very clearly delineates, like, big bombastic moment with, like, quiet talky bit, right? And how you just see it coming. This game does something similar all the time, but it's always a lot more interesting when they do it here, I find. It's like, you blow up the reactor, it's the biggest, loudest thing you've seen, and then the quiet talky bit is in this fucking, like, blasted out underpass or something. And you just kind of go on your own for a little bit, and the music's nice and quiet, and there's a small ambush which ramps up a bit, but then you're having a quiet discussion on a train, or in this little, weird... they're fucking They're just hideout, their clubhouse. Yeah, that's all it is. It's just a clubhouse for these assholes. These assholes who decided to take it upon themselves to decide what to do about the Mako problem. And I say Mako, not Nako. So if that's triggering you, internet, deal with it. Find something better to be triggered about, basically.
Oh, people.
I know. Look at that old-ass computer.
I know, it's all round and weird.
It's great because this game is set in the modern era, just in the fantastical version of it, and so it has all these weird technological relics throughout, just these gigantic CRT monitors, and actually that television appears to be a flat screen, so that's weird.
Yeah.
It looks like there's a fax machine. Why isn't that girl in bed? It never occurred to me before, but Marlene is 4 years old right now, and it's currently like 1 in the morning.
I don't have a concept of time because of the shit plate.
I guess. Yeah, her circadian rhythm could be all out of whack.
I'm horribly fatigued, but I'm excited because Daddy's home.
I have rickets.
Rickets sounds like it'd be so fun.
It's not.
Just based on the name, like, yeah, Rickets. Let's have a round of Rickets.
I'm guessing they can't allow anybody else in this bar because some of them might be like, hey, I want to play some pinball, and then accidentally,
Oh shit, where am I going?
You have two options. Either I'm going to shoot you with my gun arm. Yes, it works. Why wouldn't it work? I'll shoot you with my gun arm, or you can join Avalanche. Oh, fuck.
Well, I don't want to get
also,
shot.
I just noticed that sign on the top right says Texas.
Yeah, so did the sign outside.
What the hell?
I don't know.
Like, Texas, later they're going to mention Korean barbecue.
Yeah, the outside sign says Texas, too. And isn't this place called Seventh Heaven?
It is called Seventh Heaven, which... I mean, I think that's a very specific reference, but at the same time, I'm willing to accept that it's generally enough that it could exist in this world without being tied to something in our own. But Texas?
Yeah.
Korea?
7 years ago.
On that day.
I don't remember.
And it's great looking back at these moments after you've gone through the game and learned all you know about Genova and Cloud's past and all of that, because you look at these moments about how she is trying to get him to remember their past and how shady it feels that he didn't remember it or seem not to remember it. And the way they set it up now drives home later that maybe Cloud isn't a real person. But it's like, no, Cloud is just so fucked up that he kind of literally forgot all about this. Plus, he's been awake for 2 days.
I was just looking at Cloud's ears and thinking about how strange it is that they took the time to make these big blocks there. Because up close they look really strange, but far away I'm like, yeah, they add a lot of depth to the head, but man, up close they are fucking weird.
It's one of those things where like, let's use that sparingly. Let's try to get around that.
I was just thinking, like, why didn't they just paint a texture on or something? But I mean, from here it's nice, but it's like those cauliflower ears that people get.
Oh yeah, that you have the lance.
Ugh.
Yeah. So this moment makes me feel that this story is one of the most human that Final Fantasy has ever told. Because the whole impetus for the story is the fact that Cloud is embarrassed. Everything that happens in this story, the fucking him pretending to be Zack, Tifa not remembering him when he came to visit, his story not adding up, Sephiroth being able to take over his mind, thus being able to get the black materia, all of that occurs because Cloud is fucking embarrassed that he didn't live up to his own boasting as a kid. Because he told everyone in his small little mountain town, I'm going to go to Midgar, I'm going to join Soldier, I'm going to be the best there was, I'm going to be right there with Sephiroth. And then he's just one of those fucking Midgar MPs that you kill by the truckload. To the point where he sees Tifa coming. I said Tifa. He sees Tifa coming, he runs back to put on his helmet so she won't recognize him. which means that she doesn't get to see him. So she doesn't, she's like, he's telling the story about how he was there 4 years ago, but she doesn't remember that, which makes all of his memories not jive with anything, which puts it out in her mind, which puts it out in his mind, which Sephiroth can play off of to get that black materia, do some shit. All because Cloud was, like, how many stories like, oh, my village was burned, or oh, I guess my dad was a hero, I'm gonna follow in his footsteps. This is just Cloud boasted as a kid and then didn't live up to it. He's fucking embarrassed, and I couldn't appreciate that as a child.
Or really understand it.
Or understand it. It didn't even occur to me. Only now, as an adult who has failed at times in his life and does have stuff that he's embarrassed about, can I look back and go, I understand that.
Yeah.
I get it. You were just fucking embarrassed and you wish you could forget. You wish things had gone differently.
There's an elevator, Barrett.
No, he had to get a workout in real quick.
The elevator's for chumps.
Pull my money out of my abs.
And then you hear Jesse, hey.
1,500 gil feels like a pittance considering what you just did.
Yeah.
He may as well have paid you with a sandwich.
Here's your pay. It's like a half-eaten sandwich.
Yeah.
The pickle spear is eaten, and there's just a toothpick that is wet with pickle brine. You're like, what the fuck, Bart?
Yeah. You never do get paid for the next mission. It's a bit disappointing.
You know, some wage isn't all monetary. You know, sometimes it's experience that you're gaining and put on your resume and shit.
God, we're gonna have a lot to talk about during this playthrough. It's gonna be great.